You know, today we're gathered here to remember the anniversary of the death of a man who literally changed the course of so many lives in our great nation. Robert Kennedy, a very young man, he was only 42 when he was shot on June 5th, 1968. He passed the next day. 2 months earlier, Senator Kennedy stood in this place and he was the first to inform the crowd that Dr. King had been assassinated. We know that history. He told the crowd some very powerful words. We know that all over America, riots broke out about the assassination of Dr. King. You know, Senator Kennedy dispelled that anger with a plea, all of us, some of you who were there, to rise above the emotions of the time, the understandable rage of the time, the understandable disillusionment of the time. But many of you today remember firsthand the struggles that our nation faced at that point in our history. Segregation in our schools, race riots, murder, poll taxes, the list goes on. But out of the turmoil came numerous advocates like King and Kennedy, men who ultimately lost their lives to change the future of this great nation. I was born a few years after Senator Kennedy was killed. I do know that I'm very grateful for his fight, for the fight of Dr. King, for the fight of Malcolm X. We watch today as our poor and minority students fall behind because their access to education is based on zip code. Amen. We refuse to help our friends and neighbors when they're most in need. Oftentimes, we all fail to provide quality health care to all Americans regardless of their ability to pay. We can't allow the steady erosion of our sacred right to vote because we are at a critical time in our nation's history. Whenever I see President Obama, our first African-American president in the history of this country, I know we have made great strides in the past 50 years. When I see some of the things his detractors and critics say about him, I know that he represents just the beginning of what is yet to come.
Yes, sir.
He represents just a microcosm of us glimpsing into the future and seeing the first woman president,
Yes, sir.
of seeing the first Latino president,
Yes.
of seeing the first LGBT president.
Yes.
Today we celebrate the life of Robert Kennedy by remembering that his tragic death did not end the story of perseverance that makes our nation so special. Together, we fight on for justice and equality. Together, we will stamp out intolerance by standing up for diversity. Together, we will change the trajectory of our country when we show that all of God's children can come together for change. Thank you. God bless.